Hey there, journal. It's been a long and exhausting day, but we've made significant progress. And I've found something out that is very difficult. And then I had to do something that was also very difficult. But let me start at the beginning. With the lost miners, who I suspected were villagers that had been displaced, we went and we looked at the village, and it is in fact deserted. That's the nearest one. It's the only one I know about, but Kael said that there was others that had issues. There was taint there, and in fact there were spots of taint, 4 of them, near my home. And in fact, let me just draw a quick sketch here. There's one here, which is actually right over my Botania workroom and extending beyond it. There was one here. There's one here. I shouldn't say was, because they're still there. One there, 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 and there. And the village, of course, is down here. And that was the node. I planted ethereal blooms to try to control the spread of it, and I removed the machinery that I was using to help things grow even when I was sleeping, and confined its reach to just my workroom, which of course I'll go down there and I'll show you that while I'm writing in here. Draw more pictures. Alright, so I tried talking to the villagers. I keep calling the villagers because that's what I think they were, to the miners that were appearing in my monster farm over the altar. And well, somehow the force that put them there in the first place was helping them leave while I was trying to talk to them. And basically by the time I realized that this wasn't the path, over half of the the lost miners that I had kept safe after rescuing them had vanished. And in fact, I spent time healing them up beforehand to make sure that they were all healthy because, well, you know, it's the least I could do. So I decided that was a sign that this was not the way to do it. That I couldn't do it that way. So then I was torn. I'd have to go to village, try to convince someone to help me. Or I still had half the miners left in the golden lassos. And so I was torn on what to do. But then I went, while I was thinking about that, I hope I'm getting the sequence of events right. It was so crazy today. I might be getting things slightly out of order. Hopefully I'm not. I did go to Ian's castle to see if he was there. I thought I might find him under shelter or sleeping so I could talk to him. Yeah, to convince him to give me the statue. So I went there during the day and I had a look around his castle. I mean, I didn't go anywhere that wasn't already open. But there was nothing there. He wasn't there. I came home. And then when it fell night, I decided to try the telepathic airways, as it were, and see if he was awake. And he actually answered me. And the way I approached it was to ask him why he was still using the last name of Brass when he wasn't my brother. And he knew I knew he wasn't my brother. And then he said, well, ask me any questions you want, and I'll prove that I'm your brother. So I'm like, fine, if that's how I can get you to stop using the last name of Brass, and be able to talk to you so I can try to convince you to give me the statue. I didn't tell him that part, or any of that, what I just said. I said, fine. He was outside. I was inside the house. He came and was outside in the rainbow tree foyer. And I asked him questions. I asked him a lot of questions. And he knew all the answers. They were questions about his childhood, his early childhood, things that Astharus wouldn't have known, or couldn't have known all of them, because why would he be watching one obscure person far away in another world? Could he even watch him? And it was true. He really was Daniel. But he had been taken someplace where time ran differently, and it had been 400 years for him. And as he said that he'd been tricked by her, and that she had then tried to tried to kill him in a permanent way. But this was after he died in my world. His soul was taken elsewhere. And that he said that Astharus rescued him, but then basically did horrible things. But in such a way that Ian still feels indebted to him, but he's been perverted and changed, and that's why he doesn't use the name Daniel anymore, because it doesn't fit. It's not him anymore. And through talking to him, I realized that he was still loyal. I was really upset. He asked me why I wanted the statue, and I told him. I told him I wanted to restore balance to this world. I didn't directly tell him. I didn't say I want to rescue Atera. But she is the balance. She is the balance. And it seemed that I couldn't get through to him. But he did say one thing before he left. That my spirits, thank the heavens for them. Dear, dear spirits, without you I would have missed it. I was so upset. I wasn't even really properly hearing him. And he said that he'd put it in a safe place, the statue, where no one, except for the one it was intended for, could find it. And I missed him saying that. And I said then my brother was dead, and goodbye. He said goodbye to me, and I said goodbye. And then my spirits pointed out that he'd set a safe place, and I tried to call him back, saying that I had a safe place I could keep it, but he didn't answer. He was gone. And my spirits were saying, Evalyn, go to your safe place. Look there. I just made that place. I don't know how he knew about it. But the statue was right there. I couldn't believe it. It was right there. And he'd left me a book. And this is what the book said. I'm sorry I had to end it like that. He monitors my words. I couldn't tell you. I tried to hint it. And he did a very good hint because I missed it. And my spirits caught it. But in a way, it's probably good that I missed it, because if Astharus was watching at that point, he would have seen that I believed that I had utterly failed. And hoping that he was too busy watching Ian, if he was watching. And who knows when Ian put it here. He showed it to me earlier in our conversation, but he was out of my sight quite a few times. He could have come here at any point and put it in here. But afraid that if I didn't use it right away, if I didn't use it it would be taken from me and I would lose my chance to progress in freeing Atera. I immediately used it at the portal. And I probably should have a place to get there quicker so I can draw the pictures easier, but so I rushed. I rushed here. I had the statue. I had the Gaia spirit. But I needed a blood shard from an innocent villager. I still had 11 of the lost miners who I hadn't talked to yet, who had no clue, who truly were innocent. And I had to murder them in order to get what I needed. In a strange way, because I was first so upset and then relieved and then still upset because of, well, my brother, and it was easier to do it. I'm gonna have nightmares. It was only in the moment that it was easier. Because I didn't want what he had done, what the part of Daniel that was still alive, Ian had done for me. I couldn't let that be ruined because I couldn't do the next thing that I needed to do. He did something that he could be in great trouble for if Astharus finds out what he's done. So how could I not? How could I hesitate any longer? So I came here. I put the warded blocks, and there, this spot, I sacrificed a miner. I told him I was so sorry for what I had to do, and then I hit him twice so quick so he didn't know. He couldn't be afraid for long. There was no blood shard. So I got the second miner, and I put him right there. And I apologized to him, and I hit him twice. And I got the blood shard. So 2 innocents had to die. I had to do murder. But no more than 2. So the other 9 I took to a village at the end of the day. And they're free. They're returned to their loved ones. And hopefully the ones that were here, the 11 before them, also were returned by whatever force to their loved ones. So only 2. I'm just glad it was only 2. So having done that, that's where I got the shard. Having all that I needed, I then went to the portal. I put down the statue. I got the focus. I opened the portal. And I spoke to Atera. And she had it was difficult to speak to me, but she managed to get me a book. And that book told me what I had to do with the things that I had. I had to make a blood altar. Or sorry, a pedestal. I had to make this. And that required another blood shard. But this one I got from a slime. I was not going to sacrifice any more innocents than I absolutely had to. We got that from a slime. I made it. I put my runic altar here, because that was the other part. I put the Gaia spirit, and I put the blood shard, the good, that done by a good act, and that done by an evil act. My evil act. Then the pedestal is on top, and on that I put the focus. And Atera was here. The sacrifice, however unwittingly given by that innocent miner, was the method, soul-to-soul communication, these two souls, of the good, that from a good act of killing something evil, that from an evil act of killing something good, brought balance. And the focuses that. And now I can communicate soul to soul with Atera whenever I set up the altar and the pedestal with the items that I got. And Astharus cannot interrupt. He cannot overhear us. I hoped it would have freed her. I thought that's what I had to do to free her. But I'm not done yet. There's still more. Ian is working, however, slowly on opening the portal. The portal that Astharus wants to destroy everything. This is the chaos that Ian told me that that her had killed him for. Well, he didn't say killed, but just wanted to destroy him so that he couldn't bring it to fruition. And then Astharus rescued him. And through Ian, he's going to bring that chaos into fruition. And Ian doesn't know. I didn't tell him what I suspected, that he was being led along the same path he fought so hard to not follow. But the reason he fought not to follow it wasn't because he disapproved of the path, or now he says that. It was because it wasn't his choice. He says Astharus gives him choices. I think it's just an illusion of choice, but in a way, I'm hoping, in a way, by continuing with this task, this goal that I've set, not only for myself, but set for me by Atera, to free her, to bring balance back. And she is the goddess of balance, she told me that now. In a way, I might be able to free my brother too. The part of him that's still Daniel. So now, I am on the hunt for a division sigil, so I can summon Astharus and have him bound and talk to him. And see if I can convince him, because he's running scared of Berserker. Berserker can destroy him. At least make it hurt a lot. But Atera said he's scared of him, and because he's so scared of Berserker, which is Alair, who became Damnatio and now is Berserker, because he's so afraid of him, he might actually help me. Probably not willingly, but he might help me. So we'll see. We'll see if I can convince a god to help me undo something he's done. That should be interesting. Alright, journal. I think I'm going to end this where I began. Here, with the innocent villagers' blood shard, Gaia's spirit. The shard, the focus of Asthera. It says it's a shard now. Never mind. It's magic. It's an artifact. I have no idea. And the arcane pedestal, because I'm not leaving that down there in case it twigs Astharus if you should stop by. But I can't leave it set up because it's vulnerable, so this still has to be safe. I'm sleeping near monsters. Fantastic. And this is my other precious things. But I do know that these can occasionally be picked through the use of Botania. What the heck? Anyway, I need to find a new safe room, so I'm going to make myself a new safe room later, after I get some sleep. Because Ian knows where this one is. And while he's done what he has now, according to Atera, as that portal gets bigger, and perhaps to feed the portal, Ian will be becoming more bloodthirsty, more powerful, and the part of him that's still Daniel might be lost if I don't act quickly enough. But I am exhausted. So much has been happening, and I hope that I've written down all the most important parts in this book and drawn the pictures that I need to. That someday someone might read it and look at the pictures. And depending on the end of the story, they'll think either I'm a complete idiot or I managed to do the right thing, even though it was difficult. Or not. Who knows? Maybe I'm just being grandiose. Yeah, right. Good night, journal.